Thanks for joining me on this episode of Coffee with Kiera. We are sponsored by The Human Being in Newport and Lincoln City. And today I am here with County Commissioner Casey Miller. So, Commissioner Miller,
yes,
let's talk a little bit about, I think it's been about 6 to 9 months since we chatted last.
Okay.
Let's talk about how things have progressed for you since that time.
So what else?
Well, last time that we chatted, you did not have access to your office.
Yes.
Is that still the case?
Yes, that is still the case. So just a quick recap. The county published its investigation results, I believe January 14th. Those results determined that I did not bully or harass staff, and I began an engagement with the county with my counsel to get back to the office, quote unquote, right? And I have since, through counsel, been engaging with them to get back to the office. And so, no, I'm still not back there. I have not met the bar of the county's needs for me to complete, I guess, if you will, to get back to the office. So it's still ongoing. And for the record, everyone, I never used the remote office.
That's going to be my next question.
That was acquired for me. I'm not sure who moved my personal items into that office. So I still need to go and acquire my personal items from that space.
Now, there are those who have said, why don't you just go in and claim your office and do what you were initially elected and hired to do?
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a great question and probably one of the number one questions. And my answer to that, without disclosing too much confidential information, is only until recently did I understand more details about what the problem was, if you will, what bar needed to be leaped over in terms of what the county needs of me. And, that in itself, I want to be proactive. I want to address some of the uncertainty that individuals have. And I think even though I would feel justified in walking back into that office, very much from a legal perspective, I would realize that it might be confusing until I was actually able to gather with all parties, if you will, and make sure there was consensus. Okay. That to me would be the most comfortable thing for everybody involved. And despite knowing that legally there is no reason whatsoever to keep me out of the office, that's just a practical thing that I want to be sensitive to.
So along those lines, you have on your own taken courses in mediation. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I've done quite a bit. And I think it's the type of thing that I would have done anyways, just as trying to be a good leader. Always looking at ways to professionally develop and grow. But yeah, I've done a number of things. I took an Arbinger 16-hour course on leadership. It was very intense and good. And then I saw a advertisement for Lincoln Community Dispute Resolution, which was offering mediation training. And for people who don't know, mediation services are required by courts to be available for people to resolve disputes, and you need trained mediators. So Lincoln Community Dispute Resolution offers the training so they can get people to volunteer for mediations, so they have trained mediators.
Great program.
Yeah, I did 30 plus hours of mediation training from Portland Community College, and then I did an additional 16 hours of conflict-specific resolution training. And really, when I got this training, I thought, man, I'd like to bring this to our management team. And I actually proposed to Lincoln Community Dispute Resolution. We kind of make an abbreviated version, if you will, of what I learned in mediation, so that we could bring that to our management team. Mm-hmm. We could bring that to our human resources department. So yeah, thanks for asking. I really feel like it's helped me become more adept at conflict resolution, and believe it would be a huge advantage to our entire county and the community. And I want to pay that forward as a volunteer where I can for Lincoln Community Dispute Resolution. But it's given me definitely some new tools and ways to approach conflict resolution. Thanks.
So that being said, you work remotely.
Yeah.
But are you still receiving information from the county and from county leaders that you need to be able to continue to do your work?
Well, it's been difficult. One of the things that I have continued to be barred from doing is our management team meetings. These have historically taken place twice a month. The commissioners rotate through those meetings so they don't become a public meeting. And I'm still told I can't attend those meetings. So the way I continue to talk to department heads individually, but I do miss that meeting function to really get that overall information. Fortunately, I have some department heads that actually provide me written reports about what happens in those management team meetings. They do not come to me from legal counsel or human resources department. They come from department heads who just recognize that I'm not getting information. And to finish answering your question, I think maybe the public doesn't realize, but the county commission in 2023 even had 8 public meetings a month. Now, I mean 8. So we had our Monday staff meeting, and then we had our Wednesday regular business meeting. After that September 18th meeting, in which I was directed to leave the office and work remotely, that Monday staff meeting got canceled. And one of the functions of that Monday staff meeting, being a public meeting where all 3 commissioners attended and the community could attend if they wanted to. Community rarely attended that meeting, but that is where we discussed the agenda, right?
Okay.
So last minute sort of changes or needs to the agenda or prioritization of the agenda was discussed in that meeting. And so that was canceled. And so, I think one of the things people say, well, wait a second, why aren't his agenda items getting into the regular business meeting? Yeah. I have no intermediary meeting to discuss those things. So I'm just left to sending my agenda request to, Commissioner Chuck, for example, and Commissioner Ewell. I'll say, these are the things.
Council Ewell.
Council Ewell, right. And so, when I am sending those requests, I'm not asking for decisions on anything in the content of my request for the meeting. I'm just asking to bring these items to the meeting so then we can discuss it and make decisions if necessary. So yeah, it's been extremely difficult to not have coordinated, specific, professional, ongoing updates for over a year about any information that might be legally exchanged, if you will, from department heads as they're stopping in at the commissioner's office, right? So, for example, recently on the slide, the question...
The 229 slide.
Yeah, the 229 slide, I could see that it was on the agenda, and then, I reached out to Sheriff Shanks, for example, and emergency manager to say, can you give me some idea of what you're going to be discussing? Because there's nothing in the meeting packet. There were no details other than just an item on the agenda, and there were no packet materials. And the sheriff said to me, well, I stopped in at the commissioner's office and spoke to Council Ewell, and Commissioners Chuck. I think maybe thinking that any information exchanged would have been passed on to me. And I think many department heads are making those assumptions. Oh, these discussions we're having where it would be good that all commissioners shared in certain information. Nothing systematically is being provided to me on the regular.
So that being said, do you and Commissioner Chuck communicate in any way about things that need to be on the agenda or management or things that you're supposed to be covering?
No, yeah. And so that's the challenge, right? Without any debriefs on, information that empowers an elected official to run the county operation, I'm reduced to just what happens in the county commissioner meeting. I don't have discussions as a general rule with my elected officials, right? Mm-hmm. The key thing is that no decisions are made when I'm standing face to face with another commissioner. It could be legally valid that we share information, but making decisions is really where the rub comes. And so, yeah, I have no coordination conversations with Commissioner Chuck. I request these things to be discussed in the meeting, and as you've seen regularly, I don't get any of my requests in the meeting.
So on that line, when it comes to communication, you are able to send emails to him and to Council Yule and other department staff when it comes to requesting agenda items. Let's pick on the district attorney, just because that's more the forefront. She has asked repeatedly to be put on the agenda and to just get answers to some questions.
Yeah, and me as well. I've requested also that we discuss DA staffing as well on the agenda. Yeah, we both are asking, hey, tell us what is going on and do it in an appropriate place, the public meeting. And we are consistently denied those conversations.
So who is making those decisions? Is that something the board, because people want to know. It is presumed that the county commissioners are the ones that create the agenda. And if that's not the case, what is happening and how does that get fixed?
Well, I would say, historically, for the most part, chair and or the administrator type position helps make the content of the agenda. I presume that is Council Yule, even though I've specifically requested a number of times to specifically know who is operating in the position of county administrator, right? We've seen orders that make the board chair / the county administrator. We know our administrator resigned. We haven't had one. Devil's in the details, whether it's the chair acting as an administrator, whether it may be county council acting as de facto administrator. I have not been successful to get anyone to really define that discreetly, right? So that we know exactly who's making the decisions when, and then what are the decisions, meaning between what are 3 signatures required by the board, what are certain decisions that might constitute 1 signature in the capacity of the county administrator. So we haven't even talked about that or laid that out appropriately so everybody knows the rules, if you will. But yeah, in absence of clearly defined activity, it would appear to me that county council is the one making the decisions pretty much solely, I would guess, about what goes on the agenda. Because as you saw in today's commissioners meeting, I asked Commissioner Chuck, did you cancel the regular commissioners meeting on the 21st? And he said he did not do it. So there's only one other person in my mind, and it must be Council Yule.
So with that being said, I think it's important for the public to realize that we've been without a county administrator for pretty close to a year.
Yeah.
Do we need a county administrator? Can't the county commissioners divide these duties as they have in the past?
Absolutely, yeah. And you bring up a good point. I mean, prior to the first county administrator in Ordinance 517 that created that position, legal counsel operated as a little bit of a hybrid, but department heads reported directly to the county commission, and the commission split up the departments kind of three ways, if you will. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've proposed memos for us to return to that model temporarily if needed. I've also proposed more detail about how a single county commissioner can double as the administrator. In either case, we have never come together to discuss the details. So I would say, yes, we absolutely could do that. I think when you look at most counties, the modern way to approach this is to have an administrator and for the board to delegate certain authorities. I think organizationally, that's a lot cleaner in some ways because department heads report directly to the administrator and then the administrator reports to the board. I think there's a lot of advantages in having that organizational model, but certainly we are not limited to that, right? We're only limited by our creativity, that we create clear operational rules that everybody consensually understands.
So some have asked that since the county appears to be hitting a financial bump the road.
Right.
It's kind of hard to know what that is because it hasn't been fully discussed publicly.
Yeah.
But since there is that, why do we need to pay for a county administrator and pay for the commissioners? I mean, you guys make a good salary. The salary on Protham for a county administrator is quite high. And, again, it's a very difficult job, I'm sure, and worth it. But is that the best use of county funds?
100%. And kind of riffing on the idea that we didn't technically have an administrator before, I think during these times when there are financial stress, and again, to your point, I've also requested that we really discuss the granular details of what is going on with our financial situation. Again, we won't discuss those things in the public meeting. Largely it's unknown to me. Our audit situations, again, we're not having those discussions in a public meeting. But to your point, there's no reason, especially given times of financial hardship, that we can't come up with creative ways to tighten our belts and really have the commissioners who are full-time paid, theoretically, administrators, if you will. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I might not be serving as the administrator, obviously when we have an administrator, but that your county commissioners can understand that job and do it in the interim if necessary, to me is really, really important. I think, again, we're only limited by our creativity and our desire and our will to do the job well. And I would hope that our elected officials are at least capable of doing that work in a pinch, if you will. You're right. I mean, I think if it comes to that, that might be something we really need to consider because these commissioners are paid. So let's do what's right. Let's get together and work through the details.
So Casey, all three, and to my knowledge, I think this is the first time that this has ever been the situation. I'll find out from Amy, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time that all three county commission seats will be up for election in May.
Interesting.
So there's been a couple who have applied. Mitch Parsons has applied for your position one. Curtis Landers has said that he's planning on running for position
He's officially announced, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And Walter Chuck is wanting to run again for his position 3.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot in this first run as a county commissioner.
Yes.
Is this something you're going to want to continue?
Yeah, absolutely. I continue to have the same priorities. I really see that this is an organization that needs a strategic plan, right? And we need revisions, and we need tightening and refining of organizational management, right? Sure, in a perfect situation, or the fact that we would dive in and get under the hood on these things would be something that maybe we wouldn't have to put as much attention to detail into. But we've got so much growth that's needed. We created an ordinance that makes an administrator, but we haven't talked about all of the rules and policies that are needed to execute that well. That is just, we're at a point of immaturity where we need to bring more maturity to do that. So, things like transparency, things like making sure all of our employees feel safe, are well represented, to have careers and jobs. Those to me are passions that inspired me to run for county commissioner, right? Like, I could see that we needed more leadership that was really, really committed to doing the work on a day-to-day basis. And I still want to do that. I think the situation that I'm in and some of this dysfunction that we've seen really needs to continue to be addressed. I know there's tension there. People see tension, but I want to say that, the leadership mindset is that your commission serves community, not self. And we need to remain community forward. And there's just a lot of modernization that we need. And I don't want to stop until I know, Kiera, that if someday my son or your daughter decides to run for county commissioner, that they can truly represent the community well. And I think we've just got a lot of growth to get there. And I'm passionate about continuing to pursue it so that the future elected officials, our young people, can be agents and actively able to represent what the community wants in their county government. And I think that's really, really a key point, is that a county commissioner serves the community, and they take the community's desires and they orchestrate that into the government itself, right? And it's a lot of work to represent the community, the broad diversity in the community that we have, but then say, hey, look, here's what I can do on your behalf. There are limitations, but there are opportunities in taking that workforce of 500 plus employees and making sure that they can execute those services from the community, but also the priorities of the organization. You see strategic plans routinely in different organizations, and we really need one, right? Because that helps us in times of difficulty decide what our priorities are.
Do you feel that this discourse that's going on with county government right now creates a situation where people are more hesitant to volunteer, to work with the county, to come forward and want to do this type of work?
I think so because the tension, if you will, of leadership, I think, people go, oh my gosh, it's just such a big mess, right? And, I just want to, stay away from that. And I can understand that. But what we really need is the community to really engage and say, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I desire in my local government. I think we always hope for good feedback, quality informed feedback where possible, but always feedback, right? And if the community is seeing areas that they need better quality improvement in the government, please, I just ask you, continue to provide us that input. And I understand that, it seems because of this tension, that, I'm always committed to trying to work through the ongoing tension while still, doing my best to ensure that the government executes, its services to the community the best that they can. It's a lot. I could see that would be intimidating to people, but I think we have a better place we can be, and we need to keep striving for that, to be community first. And I know we can do it. I know we can do it. It's just going to take leadership that's committed to the transparent, and also a willingness to have the hard conversations, right? Because we can have those conversations in a fair and equitable way, but we have to have the conversations. If we can't have the conversations at all, like you saw today, we're just not even getting the willingness to lay everything out on the table.
It's uncomfortable.
Right.
It's really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't lay it all out on the table, we can't get there. And I get that would be an intimidating thing for people to step into, but, need you to be engaged, need you to care, and need you to know that we will get to a better place. We just need to persevere.
All right. Casey, as we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Well, I just want to say thank you, human being, and thank you for interviewing me, because I think, when we do written stories, those are important. Journalism is absolutely, totally important to helping the community make informed decisions. And I think especially right now, when we have a commission where you're not seeing conversations breathe, this gives me the chance to breathe with you, and you to share that with the community so they can say, oh, okay, because I would like to be able to talk just like I'm talking to you in the county commissioner meeting itself. And I'm not getting the support to do that. So I think you provide a public service to the community so people can see me as I am and as I would like to present myself in county commissioner meetings. So thank you. It's a public service, and keep at it, because we need more of it.
And you have a website that if people want some additional information, they can get that, right?
Yeah, thank you. I wish I did this at the beginning of my 4 years as a county commissioner. It's been something that, I've used social media quite a bit. I use it frequently to communicate to people. Now, I want to say what I prefer, though, is that if you have questions and if you have feedback, use my official county email, right? Because that puts it on the public record. Submit those inquiries into the public meeting record as well, because I think you can hold me accountable. You can hold the entire commission accountable through official county communication channels rather than Facebook. But yeah, I put a lot out on Facebook. I try to tell my story. But now I have a website, CaseyMillerCommissioner.com, where I can share more information. I've wanted to use the county's website blog for that information. It just hasn't worked out very well for me to get the information up there easily. So now that I have a website where you can learn more about me, but you can also learn more about the agenda requests I'm making. I put up the commissioner vacancy applications up there because I requested them to be on the county website and they're not there. So if I have to use a website to have transparency, not only about me, but about county activity, then I got it. CaseyMillerCommissioner.com, and come read all about it. And thanks for the time.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Commissioner Miller.
Appreciate your time.
I'm Kiera Morgan. Thanks for joining me on Coffee with Kiera. We are sponsored by The Human Being, located in Newport at 6th Street and Highway 101, and in Lincoln City at the north end of the highway on the west side next to TLC Credit Union. Thanks for joining me. I'm Kiera Morgan.
Thanks a lot.